Hari Om. And first, I would like to thank the principal, Mr. Kishore, for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you. It's so nice to see Ms. Sublakshmi here as a part of the participants for the NEP. And Hari Om Tai. Uh, I can see the new faces because most I can see Lokesh because I know Lokesh very well. So some of the faces are known, some of the faces are not known. So it's a quite a mixed group. Anyways, NEP, the seed has sown in 2017, I can say, when the discussion has started. And it's very interesting that when the discussion has started, that time the ministry was different, after that ministry changed, but same committee went on and on. And the best part of national education policy is we can say it's a people's policy. Maybe we will be seeing some people, those are responsible for writing the draft, but they have taken the views of all the educationists, I can say, because they've gone to the university, they've gone to the colleges, they've gone to the institutions and have a lot of discussion before they have made a draft. And after the draft has come, then also draft was discussed in a district level, in a village level, in a taluka level. So it was discussed and it was open, kept for 6 months online for a public to give the suggestion. And it believed that very good response was received by the policymaker on the draft. And then they took almost 6 months to change according to the suggestion which is came from all the sectors. So they have incorporated those suggestions, and then the policy was submitted to the Prime Minister's office. And there also it was sitting for quite a long time. It was not immediately accepted, but there also it has gone to various offices, and then I can say the policy was accepted. So this is a very rigorous policy, and all of you know, before that 1986 we had a policy. So a little bit about that policy, because there the reference of that policy also was also in this policy. And you can see the difference between the two policies. When 86 the policy came, 3 years it took to reach out to the reach out this policy to the people, because that time the digital technology was not there. So NCRT used to invite educationists, and there they used to train people to know about the policy. So it took almost 3 years for experts to know about the policy. So it has never gone to the masses. And today I can see even a primary school teacher in a district place also talk about NEP, NEP 2020. What is there, madam, in NEP 2020? Or they want to know about certain things. So from this, it is very clear that this policy has reached everywhere. This policy is very close to the present government, past government also. And the best thing this policy has given us is which for me it's I can say a very forward move, because when I went to USA in 2009, and I went to the Ministry of Education, and when we had a meeting in the ministry, so there when people they asked me about central education system, so it was very hard for me to say we don't have education ministry in center, because we did not have education ministry in center. We had a ministry of HRD. So, and there it was in the center. So I said, we don't have ministry of education. It's a state subject, and the state is responsible for the school education as well as higher education. But that was definitely clicking in my mind, why it is like this. And this is the policy who has given us the Ministry of Education also. So that is something very, very nice. Now we can proudly say in India, we have a in the center Ministry of Education, and state level also the school education and higher education, higher and technical education departments are there, and they need to follow the central's practices which is coming from the center. So maybe because education is always contextualized. So state will have some percent definitely to say whatever the policy is coming, but major change now they cannot make. So that is one thing very nice about this policy. Got a chance because it has come from the ministry. So first ministry is made and then the policy has come. So that's something very, very nice. So to start with the policy, what I will do is I'll show you presentation, so it will be systematic. Can you make me host so it will be easy for me to put the presentation? Can I be host?
Yeah,
Or
sure.
maybe
Let
co-host?
me just give me a second. I'll make you host. Yeah, you are the host now.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Uh, it's not able to. Can you see Lokesh?
Yes, it's visible. Draft National Education Policy
Yeah.
2019.
So, so this is for the lighter side. I thought I will start that always people they say that the teacher is teaching the same thing again and again and again and again. So this is the child who is saying, don't believe this teacher because she is still in the kindergarten from last 15 years. So that kind of a teacher is she. So that was a lighter side. And second thing, this is another thing which I want to tell you that the principal is accepting that this child who is there, he displays great leadership, and that makes me nervous. So this is what is the today's scenario, I can say, where our children are coming from a digital world, and technology is, they are a native technology people. So for them, it's very easy to handle the technology. So that is very interesting, I can say, which is happening with these children. So they are, the information is same information which Mumbai children are accessing. In Shegao also they are accessing the same information. So this is the information era. So because there is no gap, so you will be seeing very soon the education gap will also be filled. So we are in that stage. So as I told you, uh, it took 1986 policy, it took almost 3 years to reach to everybody. Now about this policy. So I just want to ask you, how many of you are aware of National Education Policy draft? How many of you are aware that because it was circulated vastly, so you must have read in a WhatsApp, you must have seen on the television because education minister, then our HR, this higher and technical education, UGC director, and even the Prime Minister of India, they all spoke on this policy. So I don't know how many of you have heard the discussion, how many of you have attended the presentation. Even the newspaper have was kind enough, journalists were kind enough to write something or other on the television and in the newspaper. So uh, so how many of you think we really needed a policy? Because all of us, we are working in a school sector, in a higher education sector. So really we need policy. When we did not have policy, still the school was running, still the school was opening, still everything was going. So really we need a policy. So that is the question which always come in my mind. Without policy also things are moving. Uh, so this policy was prepared under Kasturi Rangan, who is a scientist at ISRO, and these were the members. So why I'm showing this slide to you, there is a reason behind it. Dr. Vasudha Kamat, the first name which is appearing there, she happened to be Vice Chancellor of SNDT Women's University. And I was the dean of the university. So I had a direct interaction with her, being a dean of the university. So when the policy was making stage, that time the discussion which were taking place, I was part of it. So I have got a first-hand discussion on the policy, and some of the discussion which I have attended with her in different places. So that is the reason ins and out of policy was very clear to understand, and she was kind enough to give the, even in a reference at the end, acknowledgement, she has put the name. So that kind of people, they were rigorous work they have done before they have given us the um, draft. New curriculum for teachers education, it will be implemented in 2021. That is what told by the president of India. So when he got the policy, the first statement he has given is 2021 we will be implementing the new education policy. So that kind of commitment shown by the president of India. And the president said that the new curriculum will include integrated education and multidisciplinary training. So we need to understand, maybe I have to, teachers are here till fifth standard, but one should be understanding the strength in this policy is talking about integrated education. It means till some years, fourth, fifth, there will not be compartment like we have a language and a social science and a science. So the compartment will not be there. It all will be integrated. In the science also you talk about the language, and in the language also you can talk about the science. So that kind of integration the policy is talking about. And multidisciplinary, even they are expecting institutions like IIT, IM should also be giving other subjects in their institutes. So the student can have the engineering and some subject they can take from the social science or literature. So that kind of multidisciplinary approach is taught in this policy. So students, they have a flexibility, they can have a physics, music, and economics. So that kind of combination they can have, because their credits, all the university will have a credit system, and every student will have a credit bank. So in the bank, whatever they are learning, all those credit will go to the bank, and then they will be getting the degree. So that was a thought. And second, in school education, that is another thing which is important for us to know. Everybody is saying 4 years of a B.Ed program. So what we need to understand, it's not 4 years. Everybody will be doing education, but 3 years is a degree. So if the people are taking degree in education, they are taking the degree. So 3 years they will be studying the subject. Maybe it's art, maybe it's a social sciences, maybe it's a science. So when they will be doing the degree, they will be studying these subjects, and little bit on the how to teach this subject also. And then 1 year is a rigorous training to teach science, how they can become an effective teacher of the science. So if she doesn't want to go for the integrated degree, then also she can be out taking her 3 years degree. That possibility is also given by the policy. So both the things we need to understand here. So in school, those who are coming from the B.Ed, so isolated institution, those who are offering only B.Ed program, like in Mumbai, those who are well versed with the Mumbai, they know Bombay Teachers Training College. They are giving only B.Ed and M.Ed. This kind of institution has to be merged with the colleges where they are giving the undergraduate program. Because undergraduate program and a degree program, they will be together. So the degree will be integrated. So that was the concept which is given is the multidisciplinary education. He also said that by the year 2030, the whole sector will be dominated by high quality education. So it is believed that the education is reaching to the people, but that is not enough. What Ammaji always used to say, Shegaon have got education. NV Vidyalaya is not just giving education. NV Vidyalaya need to give high quality education. So that was a thought she has sown. And for this policy, if you see the vision, and vision is also talking about high quality education to all. So in the vision also they are talking about India-centered education. In policy, they have referred Takshashila. These kind of universities we had where the people used to come from other countries to study in India. So that kind of history we had. We should not forget our past. It was a glorious past when we had Nalanda and Takshashila, this kind of university system we had. So from this country, we need to give India-centered education, contextual education, and high quality education. With that vision, the policy has come. So this is what we need to understand, that we cannot give education which is just other institutions are giving. So we need to give high quality. So vision, if you need to understand, the first thing it is talking about, ensure high quality education to all. Second, provide equal opportunity to all. Third, produce vibrant citizens. So we don't want just citizens. Some people have born 1 year, now 2-year-old, now 3-year-old, and they're growing with the time. No, we want vibrant citizen in our country. They should have a pride that they belong to India. That pride should be there in all the citizens. Fourth is creating a just and equitable society. So that also vision is talking. We want to do justice with everybody. So it should not be like because we don't like people, we don't like those students. This kind of injustice should not be taken by any institution, any educational institution, and people should make a voice, strong voice against if there is an injustice or inequality which is taking place in the society. Because the job of this policy is to give just society and equitable society, and ensuring this knowledge society is sustainable. So it's not like we have 3 years, we have run the school very well, very nice with the quality education, but 4th, 5th year, the quality is going down. No, it should sustain and sustain. So systems and processes of the school should be so strong that it should sustain for all the time. So that kind of education was visioned by the visionaries like Kasturi Rangan. This policy has 4 parts: school education, higher education, additional key focus areas, and transforming education. So I will be definitely touching only on the first part, that is a school education. So for school education, the foundation is access to everybody. So you cannot deny the education to anybody. Equity is the foundation of the education. Quality is again and again it is talked about. Affordability. These people should be able to afford education. That kind of education should be given. And accountability. When the child is coming to our school and becoming a student, become a learner, then it is our accountability towards the children. And children also have an accountability towards the nation. So that kind of accountability is taught by the policy. So we are talking about school education here. Now in the reform, the major reform which has come is in a foundation years. And what is that foundation years? If you see, I will later talking detail about 5 plus 3, 3 plus 3 plus 4. Here I'm just introducing that major year has gone in the foundation years. And that is a pre-primary sector. And here again, I'm referring to Ammaji, because when she started a school, she has given a lot of importance to preschool. She wanted her all teachers to be trained, all teachers should be knowledge, the knowledge base should be high, and they should understand the practical applicability of the curriculum in the classroom, how the transition should take place. So now when it is talking about 5 years, it means 3 years of nursery, junior KG and a senior KG, and 2 years will also go in the foundation years, that is first and the second standard. So till second standard, early childhood education teacher will be teaching, and because she is the one who knows how to teach with the stories, with the song, with the teaching aids, with making a good environment to the children so children can understand. She is teaching with the playway method, activity based, integrated. So this education is required in a early years, in the foundation years sector. That is the reason it is told that this needs 5 years. And second thing is 0 to 8 years now. The foundation year is till 8 years. Now this you will be seeing in globally also. Early childhood education is a till 8 years, 0 to 8 years. Any university you say, see Europe and in America, they will be seeing early childhood education is 0 to 8 years. Now we are also in par with the global standard of a preschool education. Then it is talking about school infrastructure and school complexes. That is another very interesting thing, because schools, they don't have that much of maybe finances are not so strong. So the policy is saying, why don't you make a cluster of schools? 4 or 5 schools you come together, make a complex, and some of your resources you can share with each other. Like you have a very good music program in your school, you have a music teacher, you have an instrument teacher, you have a harmonium teacher. So you have teachers who can be separate tabla teacher. So you cannot employ 5 people in one school. So what you can do is you can employ 5 this, and the cluster of the school, which is the complex, in these people will be going from school to school and training in all 3 school, 5 school, whatever the cluster you have formed, they will be giving their services to everybody. So that even PT teacher, they have said, they also craft teacher, because she is the expert and you cannot employ expert full time and give a good salary. Give them the good salary, give them a good, good salary, so you can retain them. And once you have retained them, then because these are the services which will be later on part of the report card. Now it will not be a report card of academics only, the report card in which the marks of the dance teacher, the marks of the music teacher, the marks of the sports teacher, all these things, and about the child, what dance teacher has taught, what music teacher has taught, all these things will be part of the report card. So report card will be the exhaustive report card. I can say in other language, like a child's kundali will be there in the report card. So everything related to the child will be in the report card. All observations will be part of the report card. So it will be on the holistic development of the child. And the policy is talking about inclusiveness. So they have talked about special children and should be part of the school education program, and education should be inclusive. So all caste, creed, race, religion, all should be part of the school. You cannot be making your school exclusively for some community. No, that's not policy is talking about. Then they give lot of pages, not many pages on assessment, where they said the student tracking is very, very important. So student tracking will be done of a 360-degree tracking. So that is what I said, in all areas the assessment will take place. So that kind of assessment is thought in the policy. And then curriculum framework, which is coming from NCERT, and the framework, they have started even making the framework also. And pedagogical procedure is where the experiential learning is a part of it. Then field trip is also part of it. Students are going for the internship. School time only, they are getting the experiences, going out and working outside and getting the experience of hands-on experience. That also policy is talking about. So the policy is very, very progressive in this nature. Only we need to have a open mind to implement the policy. And for teacher recruitment also, teacher entrance test will be there, and there will be independent body which will be conducting teacher entrance test. Like we have a NEET for the entrance examination, similarly for teacher entrance test there will be independent body, and the work of this body is to see the teachers. They will be giving the certificate that she is qualified to become a teacher. So that, like we have a NET and SET, similarly in school it will be TET, and once you are through with the TET, then only you can be giving your interview. So that kind of recruitment process will be there, and it will be they have written in the policy also, like before they go for the interview, they will be going the class, giving the demo lesson in the class. So that also will be seen by the experts, and experts will be discussing. And once TET is there, demo lesson is good, then only she is ready for the personal interview. So it's not like you like the person and you appoint the person, that time has gone. So that is a beautiful thing about this policy. Now I am coming to my favorite area, that is early childhood care and education. So the policy is talking about quality early childhood care and education. It should be available to children from age group 3 to 6 by 2025. So 2025, all children should be getting education. So that is the target given to all the states. Then expansion and strengthening of facilities will multi-pronged approach based on the local need. So whatever the expansion is taking place of the school or the preschool, and wherever the school is there, the strengthening is done by understanding the local need, the geography, and existing infrastructure. Why the policy has to talk about existing infrastructure? Because we have seen in India, where the population is there, the private schools are there. But the area where the population is not there, the private schools are not opening their schools. So the government has to plan the school in the area, like a tribal area inside where the population is very less, but the children are there. So for those children also, there should be a Anganwadi. On the hilly area, in the top of hill, there are some hutments are there. So the population is scattered, but is there. So for those children also, the Anganwadi should be there. So that kind of commitment is shown by the policy. Then we can say expansion and strengthening of the that I have talked to. Then the policy is talking about special attention is given to the disadvantaged areas and disadvantaged communities. So this policy is saying that each and every child should be part of the school, maybe belonging to any society. So this is the accountability of the government, state government, that they should make it, they should be making it, or they should ensuring that each and every child should be part of the school. So school education, as I told you, this is the integrated education. Then this the policy is saying all of us, we are knowing that this ESSER report, and ESSER report is always talking about in the class 3rd, 4th, class 5th children, they read but they don't understand what they are reading. They do class, but they are not able to solve story problems. So it means literacy and numeracy, they're very poor. So this policy is saying that we need to have a literacy and numeracy as a mission of the government of India. So they will have this program will run as a mission, and by 2025, all 5th grade students should be able to read and understand, they comprehend what they are reading, and they should be good with the numeracy, because it will be in a mission mode, so it will definitely will take place. And increase focus on the language and math that already I told you. And midday meal program has extended to the primary children also. So not only pre-primary children are getting, but primary children will also be getting, because unless the child's stomach is full, child will not able to concentrate in the classroom. This is the research have shown. So that research is quoted, and on the basis of that quote, the school lunch program has gone to the primary also. And availability of the quality learning material. because now what we are seeing, most of the preschool, they don't have material. They have only walls to teach them. But child needs equipment, material. When 300 years before, Froebel has given the material, 100 years before, Montessori has given the material, and they say preschool education cannot have without equipment and material. So they said they should have equipment and material to run the school, and regular continuous assessment should be taking place. So a lot of emphasis is given on the outcome-based assessment. So all the lesson plans should have an outcome, and then see at the end of the day that outcome has been achieved or not. And to ensure this literacy and numeracy, this is another thing. When the child is going in the grade 1, first 3 months is a preparation for the children, so they will have conceptual learning. So 3 months are given. If the primary, pre-primary, the conceptual learning is not there, then also the primary has a responsibility. The 3 months time they should be spending for the conceptual learning. And then this education policy is launching new programs. So there are many new programs. Some programs I'm talking to. National Tutors Program. This is focusing on the peer tutoring. So there they said, in your community, in your society, Thai-like people, those who are interested in teaching, rope them, take them as a volunteer. They can come and be a part of the school program and take their services. So that is one aspect policy is talking about. And second, remedial instructional DIAS program, RIAP. That this program will be formalized program. So it will be done in a very formal way. And apart from that, they said in school you need to have a social worker or the counselor to help children's mental health. And second is the retention of the children in the school. If the child is dropping out from the school, it's a responsibility of the school to bring back that child to the school. Don't allow any child to drop out. It's something school is doing, that is what is thought. Because of that, the children are dropping out. So it should not happen. So access and retention is a very important part. By 2030, and if you see our Sustainable Development Program, SDG, is also getting over by 2030. So policy is at par with the SDGs and saying 100% gross enrollment in school by 2030. So every child should be part of the school. Wherever you see the child, bring that child back to the school. So increase the intake of the existing school. So government will be giving more numbers to you if you have more numbers in the school. New facilities in underserved locations, and school rationalization support by giving them the hostel facilities and transport facilities. So children, it is a very student-centric policy. Children should be supported by transport, by hostel, so they can come to the school. So that kind of ensure. I have very less time. I knew I'm short of time, but what I want to show, whatever time I have in that, maybe this I will like to show, because I have only 5 minutes. So this why I'm taking this 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, because why people, they ask me also on All India Radio, I have spoken. They ask me this, why this structure? Why we have to break? So if you see the developmental psychology of the child, then and cognitive development of the child, if you see the Piaget's theory and all the psychology, when we talk about the mental development, emotional development, and social development of the child, you see that goes in this way. So that is what is the basis. The theories and the researches are the basis of dividing plus 10 in 10 plus 10 plus 2 into 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. And why? Because 3 to 8 years is called foundation years. It's called foundation stage. And 3-year child will be admitted in the school, and child will say standard, as I told you earlier, because this is the time the rapid brain development takes place. All of us, we know 85% of the brain development takes place in this time. So we don't want to miss this. And play and activity-based education. In first and second standards, still the children are very small for the formal kind of education. So them also, it is very important that we should be teaching them activity-based, discovery-based education. So conceptual understanding will be there. Because our children, they have rote memory and they can count till 50, 100 easily. But when it comes to one-to-one correspondence, this I do in my training. I ask children to stand in the line and then I tell the child, count how many teachers are there. And invariably, when 10 teachers are there, they say 12 or 13 because they do rote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they are not able to do one-to-one correspondence. And that should be achieved in the preschool. Apart from the number, they should be achieved sorting, measuring, and all the measure of time, measure of weight, all these measure of liquid, they should be knowing. So the curriculum goes to that, and children can be shown that they can achieve till 8th standard. So that's the reason discovery-based education, play-based education should be given till 2nd standard. Then the age group is 8 to 11 years. So the children are coming from 3 to 6 years of the age group. In the second level, these 3 years, they are doing again play and discovery based education. But this is the time children are ready for the structured learning, where you can have now subjects, where you can talk about science and math and social studies and all languages. So all these things, the structured learning is possible in this age, and children can show their interest in a particular area, like maths they're interested, or they're interested in science, or they're interested in language, that they can show. So this 3 years is basically to give them the understanding of the structured education. And after that, another 3 years are there to go into the depth. So complete conceptual understanding of the history, civics, geography, then arithmetic, geometry, complete in-depth understanding. They are the toughest year in child's life. This is the time when the full education should be gained by the children, because now they're ready. 11 to 14 is a time when they can absorb as much logical education you are giving, systematic education you are giving, they are easily can get it. So conceptual understanding can make of each and every subject, and here they can show their liking towards the subject, and that will help later on. And this is the time, actually this is the time when the policy is planning to send the vacation children for the internship also. And the last 4 years is, here the children should be prepared for the either livelihood. If they want to go for the vocational education, they can go from here only for the skill-based education, vocational education, or higher education. They can go for the graduation program of the colleges or university, or they can go for the technical education, or they go for the education. So here, these are the 4 years where whatever they have learned. So on the basis of that, they can even make a choice of the subject. So here also there is a possibility for them to make the choice of the subject. Earlier also it was there, but the choice have more flexibility now. Earlier you have a choice either to take biology or a mathematics, but now the flexibility is there. You can take science with economics also. So that flexibility is given here. So here the children can think of going for the livelihood or higher education. So that was a thought which has gone. And 18 years is according to the child's right. The child is when he is 18-year-old. So the school system is covered when the child is still 18 years of his age. So that also in par with the child rights, which is signed by 1989, when we have signed the UN Convention of the Right of the Child. So they all are children. So we need to really give them the value-based education, quality education. Policy is talking about contextual education. So I remember maybe some of the teachers, those who are old teachers, they remember in the preschool we had one time transition activity as a Shegao Kachori. Why we have transition activity? Because Shegao is famous for the kachori, and young children when talk about Shegao, they should talk about the kachori in detail. And once they know how to talk about the kachori and make a marketing of the kachori, they will know how to do marketing of the history and geography and other subjects also. So they will have a language, and this language will help them to understand other subjects also. So contextual education is thought is a very, very important, and children they learn best if the education is coming from their own context. So with that, I have a lot to talk about, but I thought maybe if, sir, can you give me 2 more minutes? Can you unmute and tell me if you can give it two more minutes? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Please continue, ma'am. Please continue.
Okay, thank you so much. Because this slide again, I want to show here. What I want to show is the government is very serious about SCERT. We had SCERT earlier also, and SCERT's job is NCERT is making the curriculum at the central level, and SCERT has to translate that curriculum according to the context of the state. But here the SCERT is now pressurized to do training as well as research. So research was very weak, and even the training was very weak in the SCERT. So the SCERT is tightened by training and research, and it is expected that they should be doing this job more than what they were doing earlier. So now they are accountable to tell how many training they have done and what area training they have done. So SCERT has to work with the UNICEF very closely to give the training. So that is one thing. Second is SSRA is a new office which is developed by this policy, and this has a definite what you can say is the services here is to regulate the operations of the school. So SSRA is a regulating body, and which will be seeing the very closely operation of the school, and mostly they will be seeing the there shouldn't be any conflict between the policy which is coming from the national level and a state level implementation of the policy. So that is also a job of the SSRA. So this is an independent body other than the Ministry of Education and State Ministry of Education. This will be independent body, and this body's job is to regulate the operation of the school. And another body which is coming, that is also another independent body, that is a State School Regulatory Authority. So State School Regulatory Authority, now their job is to have like we had in the university NAC, which is giving the certification of the quality. So it is told to State School Regulatory Authority also, they should be developing the tool for the accreditation, and school will be accredited by the State School Regulatory Authority and give them the ranking to the school, and on the basis of ranking, certain decisions will be taken care for the school system. So what I'm trying to tell you is the government is very serious when it comes to the school education, and today I very proudly say that school is doing much better than colleges and university. And I will not say I belong to the university, so I can authoritatively say school has very fast shifted on even online education, and even they have never stopped education. So that kind of schools we have, just we have to improve our quality of the education system. Thank you so very much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the listening. And after a long time, I feel like I have come to your school. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Today we come to know about not only ECCE, but what are the different aspects of this NEP, and not only that, but what is the vision of NEP and what was the vision of Swamini Amma. Just now, Madam pointed out. And not only that, what was that Shegao Kachodi project, that also Madam pointed out. Okay, thank you very much, Madam. And now I request all the teachers, if you have any question, any doubt, please ask me. Yes, Manisha, any doubt? Any question?
This is a policy saying communication skills and critical thinking is very, very important. So questioning should be taught to the children, and interactive class, so children should ask many questions.
Yes, Sai. Interaction is very important. Actually, as we have talked, 0 to 8 years, we follow also in our school, as you know, all the things are activity based and these things. But just I want to clarify this thing. If 0 to 8 years we have completed with all of these things, and you have explained also in your one of the slides that with these things structured education is also important after the 8 years, but it should, the base should be the activity, and this, with this we have to go ahead with the smaller children, that like third standard, fourth standard, fifth standard. So base should be with the activity based and playway method. This should be not.
See, now the child has grown up so much that cognitively child is ready to take concept and something which is an abstract thing. If you told to the children, they are ready to understand. So that is earlier, unless you show the concrete thing, children are not able to even figure it out. So if your early foundation here is very strong, if you are giving that strength, then third standard, what is happening? Most of the children are dropping out in third standard because still that they are doing rote learning, and once the conceptual learning comes, they are not able to do it. And rote learning is not helping in the conceptual learning, because in the brain, the network of the rote learning is different, and conceptual learning starts from the beginning. The neuron connectivity starts from the beginning. So it becomes too hard for the children. So that is, but if your foundations are very strong and the way it is going on, same way if you are continuing, so third standard, they will be definitely ready to sit in one place for the longer time. Structured, my meaning is now the periods, 30 minutes period, that structure is there, sitting in one place for longer, doing maths. So their attention span is also increased, so they can work for the longer. Those kind of structure is possible, which was not there. Anytime you are in your half story, the child can say, I want to go to the washroom. And you have to send the child to the washroom because you are not sure, otherwise the accident takes place in the class. But here you can stop the child because the child has developed physically also. So all these things considering, after that, you can structure it means the timetable, the routine, the books, all those things. Earlier we are giving integrated.
Yes, thank you, Dai.
Okay, so thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you.
Did I end the presentation?
No, can I just thank you, please?
Please, go ahead.
Without white hair thanking, it will not be complete. Thank you.
I cannot go from here.
Thank you very much. And all what I want to say, God bless you. We need people like you, Rita ji. And God bless you so much. Please continue the good work and take these teachers forward, because our time, my time is very little. So please, please don't leave our hand. Hand holding is still very necessary for us. And Kishore Dada is there. So he will hold your hand now and you hold everybody's hand. Thank you very much, Rita ji.
Thank you so much. you so much.
Please,
Bye.
yeah, madam, please keep on guiding us all the time. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.